Good morning, all. Let's begin. And by beginning, right, we get to remember. And this isn't a nostalgic or historic kind of remembering. This is a cellular remembering. This is remembering our consciousness, our livingness. And the way that we remember that is by perceiving it in and through the body. So we're coming back to our senses. So let's just start with really basic sensing. Feel your sit bones on the ground. And feel the very top of the head, the crown's relationship to those sit bones. Starting to feel, notice that you're breathing. Feel the shoulders relax. Feel the abdomen soften. So for many of us, we'll tend to feel if there's an enactment. So if we do something to feel is often when many of us will start to feel. So let all of these enactments, like being in a pose, remembering to connect to breath, let them all be ways that draw us back to sensing awareness. Sense, feel, sense awareness. I'm aware through my sensing, through the raw information that my body provides, both on the inside and from the outside, is very, very different. Requires an entirely different way of working than the information that comes from my brain, my frontal lobe. So now let's deepen our breath, just very gently deepen. Deepen means I feel my breath more deeply. It doesn't mean bigger, it doesn't mean more forceful. I just start to feel that there's a quality of depth to my breath. The breath has a reach with depth. So I sense my body as having dimension. And this is huge. At the end of the day, these are all just ways of playing with time and space. And we can certainly play with those. Just getting to a place where we feel that there's a little bit of space in the body, to me, that's a great perceptual, that's a really cool thing. So, our pranayama for today will work Kapalabhati. We'll just do like 40 or 50 pumps, and then we'll switch over. We'll do that together, and I'll talk us through the next part. Kapalabhati, translated as skull shining, is a low belly pump The tip of the nose exit, so it's a very short nasal exhalation. And if that's enough to stoke your memory, let's begin. Having the skull over the sit bones seems to help me feel that breath. Not only exit the tip of my nose, but get a feeling sense of the skull, the top of my head. All right, part 2. For this, let's place the soles of our feet together in Barakanasana. We'll do a round of Uddiyana together. With the fingertips on the ground, relax the belly. Exhale everything out, but soften the belly. Inhale. Can you feel for a quality of depth with your breath? Does that breath come from or reach the very center of your body? Hold that breath. We'll hold it softly. Bring the hands forward in front of your legs. Swiftly exhale. Now remain empty. And as you're drawing in, you're getting a sense of the perineum, right between the sit bones, the genitals, the anus. Just feel any amount of contraction or motion there. And you're pulling back. The low belly may move. Can you sense movement in the low belly? Depth in the low belly? And pulling back toward the spine and lifting up. Now there's an inclination to collapse over what you're sensing, so lengthen your chest and your guts gently forward. Not your chin, your guts and your chest. Your chin can stay down. And release when you need a breath. Let's resume Ujjayi breath. Go right into it. So that we're sensing our breath more richly. And gradually, hopefully, over time, whether it's over the next 50 minutes or the next 50 months, many of our experiences will have a richness, right? A sensory richness. All right, let's bring the right leg up, bent, left leg out in front. So my right knee is bent, my left leg is out in front. And to work with the right shoulder, I might want my strap beside my right hip. I've just put a little prop right here. So one, I'm going to just grab my shin. And I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit. Sometimes we're kind of rolling back here. grab the shin, inhale, draw the chest up. And again, I'm just gonna do it a few times so you can see my pelvis, the old teacup pelvis right now is, all my tea is spilling out the back. But as I pull on my shin, as I lift my chest, I'm tipping my teacup to hold the tea. So that's primarily what I'm getting with that move. So this is one. Hold right here, and I totally get it. This may be a really strong sensation in the hip crease, in which case I want you, if you're feeling a really strong hip crease feeling, not painful, take the weight of your arm and push this thigh bone down toward the ground. So I'm actually like climbing up on my thigh bone and helping my thigh bone just nestle down toward the ground. That's your move. And then some of us will just kind of be here rather easily. We have a lot of hip flexion for us. Okay? Take that right arm, reach forward. So now that teacup, that pelvis starts to tip forward. And you can brace this arm against the shin. You can grasp the thigh, strap, or hands. I think it's really good to get that teacup pelvis, right? And that deep, deep hip flexion before folding forward. If my hips don't flex very fully, and it's usually my back and my back tissues that have to accept and figure out how to move into these folds. So I'd rather my hip, that big joint, start to figure that out so my back doesn't have to pick up its slack, so to speak. And connect to breath in your Mariachasana. So some of us will feel that in the shoulder blades, some of us right down in the hip and the back. The where of sensation might not be as important as just sensation. Sense awareness. This is the language of our body, right? The senses, and with that all the emotions, these are our messengers. So kind of opening up to our messengers. Now when we release, we'll keep that right leg bent. And again, you can use this leg, kind of hugging down on it, keep growing tall. Or you can set the right hand behind your hip and just start a gradual twist. Again, I'm hugging the leg so I can gain maximum kind of verticality. We're taking a moment in each of these poses so that we can feel our breath. We can sense our breath. Because if we can sense our breath, we can sense all of our body. It's just one of those bridges, those portals to everything, one of those master key entry points. The breath is one of those. The body is one of those. And release. Inhale, we'll unwind. And we'll switch sides. So with the left leg bent, we have a couple of options, and it really just depends on your pelvis, your hips, right leg is straight. Option 1 is hug on to your bent left leg thigh and pull a little bit. Dig that left heel in, pull, lift. And just find out if you can feel a shift in the pelvis from tipping back to holding the sky. And just find out if you can hold that, plus breathe. And some of us will feel that this is accessible. And if you like, you can reach that left arm forward, wrapping it around the shin, thigh, strap, or hands. My pelvis kind of rocks back or rounds or bows back. It's very, very difficult to get that sense of lift, of lengthening through the guts, and adding more effort doesn't seem to help. So I'm really setting that up as like, that's a foundational piece to feeling this lengthy quality through the guts, through the torso. And committing to a deep breath keeps us committed to sensing, feeling our body. Whether we're feeling a stretch, whether we're feeling a mood. Now, when we release, you still have that option, hugging onto the thigh, getting taller with it, setting the left hand behind the ground or to the ground, twisting to your left. Both sit bones are on the ground. And feel for weight in both sit bones as you're twisting, as you're lifting. Lifting is the torso and the ribs. Now, thinking is a really strong habit. Conceptualization is a pretty strong habit for many of us. So as you connect to breath, it's just a return to feeling your skin, feeling the pressure, feeling the sensations, the stretches, the moods, the emotions. What else is there to feel? There's so much to feel. The messages. You know, there is a kind of an inbox principle with bodily sensing in that if we don't regularly sense our body, things pile up. We have a great deal of messages to comb through. And when we release, inhale, we'll unwind. We'll lie on back. And with this move, we'll bring feet off ground, leaving your head on the ground. Palms are for the thighs. We haven't applied pressure yet. I'll describe when. But have your palms on your thighs. Inhale, feeling your back on the ground, contacting, spreading against the ground. And now curl tailbone, it's right here. The palms and the thighs start to contact more strongly. And now exhale, raise the right leg. You have to adjust your palms a little bit. And as the palms are kind of pushing the thighs, keep curling the tailbone. You notice you minimize the amount of motion the very bottom of your pelvis, but there may be a lot going on in your lower belly and hip crease. Pull the low belly down. Good. Inhale, just soften all the pressure. Inhale is for rest. Keeping my palms on my thighs, my triceps on the ground. As I curl the tailbone, there's a little nudge of pressure. My back is still on the ground. Exhale, straighten the left leg. And I mean straighten it strongly, get those muscles starting to work. Exhale, keep curling the tailbone, really pushing with the palms. The thighs are trying to pull past the palms. Pull the low belly down. Inhale, bend that left knee, softening all pressures. I'm really just blocking my legs from moving toward my face. Curl tailbone. The hands block the thighs from moving too much. Exhale, straighten the right leg, contracting, working those leg muscles all around the knees. Get some great contractions going. Keep curling the tailbone. Pull low belly down. Inhale, bend knees, soften all pressures. Now, as you curl the tailbone is where you'll feel that first nudge of pressure. Exhale, straighten the left leg. Now keep curling the tailbone. There's more pressure, and the hands are just staving off those legs. Pull low belly down. Inhale, bend that left knee. Continue. So I can get a little look and see what we're getting here. There is work of legs against the palms. The work probably contributes a great deal of sensation in the hip crease. As long as it's non-painful, harmful, can you allow those hip flexors to work? Can I straighten the leg while my hip flexors are working? Can I reach through the leg very vibrantly while my hip flexors are working? I'm trying to set us up really well, so permit those hip flexors to work as that tailbone shifts. The more the tailbone is in tone to shift, the more hip flexor palm pressure you feel. Good. Just do one more on each side to complete the pair. Just one more. Feet active. There you go. Let that pressure ring through those hip flexors. It's okay, as long as there's not pain. It's okay to feel those hip flexors get a little like toasty. Good, and then keep curling breaths. You'll keep feeling the pressure of the thighs and the palms. Keep curling. There's more pressure. There you go. There you go. Great. Now we'll do one more since we're here. While lying on back, let's cross the right knee over the left. And for some of us, that's as far as the legs or the knees go. Perfect. There might be a handful of us that then hook the right foot behind the left calf. Right foot behind left calf. So we have the cross of knees or the cross of knees and foot calf. Hands behind head, twining vine, or twisted root abs rather. Inhale, float the head and the shoulder blades off the ground, just a little bit. I'm not crunching, I'm lengthening my backside. Exhale, feel the curl of the tailbone. It's the lift of the tailbone that lengthens the back. Pressing thigh against thigh, Draw the low belly down. Inhale, belly softens, tailbone relaxes. Exhale, pressure against those inner thighs. Tailbone lifts up just a little bit. But really, more than the tailbone moving, the low back lengthens. Pull low belly down. Good. Inhale, set the head down. Keep the legs exactly where they are. Take your hands to your right thigh, just like before. Hold your hands on that right thigh. Inhale. Keep the low back on the ground. This requires a little bit of abdominal, just a little bit. It's like I'm holding the front steady, not stiff, so my low back fills into the ground. Exhale, curl tailbone, hands press thighs, thighs pulling into the hands. Pull low belly down. Inhale, soften the pressures. Keep the feet active. Exhale, curling the tailbone, the thighs bump into the hands. They can no longer move toward the face. The hands press the thighs. The low back lengthens. Pull low belly down. Let's do one more. Inhale. And exhale, curling the tailbone. As I press that right thigh, notice you can kind of press into that thigh so it's internally rotating more. Sometimes you'll feel that outer right hip really singing. So my left leg holds that right thigh in place. Pull low belly down. And release. So as I press on that top thigh, so I'm just assisting that internal rotation. And often when I assist that internal rotation, and I'm kind of exaggeratedly doing it if you need to see what internal rotation is I often feel the outside of the hip. Let's do the other side. Cross your left knee over your right. Interlace hands behind head. And I'm being very soft around the diaphragm and the stomach area. So I'm not bracing. So if you have a history of hernia, I'm not grinding down and creating herniation types of pressures. I'm being very, very specific, soft with the abdominals, and very specifically strong with the hip flexors. So it really takes some finessing to not just grind out like old herniation patterns. So kind of like implosion patterns, right? Kind of bursting from the inside. But the beautiful thing is we can teach ourselves how to work with energy so that we're soft in all the right places. Inhale, float the head and the shoulder blades off the ground. So again, if you're working with old hernias, I'm very, very soft around the upper belly. It's firm, it's working, but it's soft. Exhale, curl tailbone, press thigh into thigh. Draw the low belly down. Now I draw the low belly down, not the herniation area, the low belly. Get really specific, and you can get some really sweet help there. Inhale. Exhale, curling tailbone. Now I curl tailbone, it's just the low belly. I'm getting very specific. Draw the low belly down. Okay, now inhale, set the head down, place the hands on your left thigh. Keep the back on the ground. Exhale as you curl the tailbone, the thighs move a little bit toward the face, the palms stop their motion. Keep pressing. Get the hip flexors, not the belly, not the top of the belly. I'm not tensing or grinding in my guts. Pull low belly down. And this is so important. Inhale into the abdomen. And without any grinding of those guts, exhale, curl tailbone. This is hip flexor. This is low belly. As I'm exhaling, I'm talking. You'll notice I'm talking without any kind of, straining sounds. Pull low belly down. One more. Inhale. You can breathe into the abdomen. It's not stiff. Exhale, curl tailbone. Press hands against thighs, thighs against hands. And pushing that left thigh. Assisting that internal rotation. Pull low belly down. And release. Inhale, unwind. Great. Let's turn onto a side and we'll press to our elbows and knees. Those are hip sockets. I know someone who calls that hip circles. I just feel all the things around the hip. It's a big old circle. All right. So from elbows and knees, we got the forearms out in front. They can be in parallel or hands clasped. You decide. Curl the toes under. Connect to breath. Again, just feel breath. It's practice of taking my cues from my body. Exhale, smoothly lift the knees off the ground. Dolphin. I'd like to just offer a little anecdote while we're in dolphin. Someone had the beautiful courage reflection to offer me this. When I take my cues from my body says, get out of the pose, get out, stop doing it, don't go there, it's uncomfortable. And I kind of gently challenged that, saying, or asking, did you actually receive the message, no, don't go there, or did you get the message of heat, anxiety, fluttering in the stomach, uncertainty? And it caused this person to pause and totally reconsider how they were interpreting the messages from the body. So, with regards to the raw data, the raw information, are we really getting a story, or are we getting pulsing, pumping, buzzing, heat, quiver, fuzzy? Get the raw data. Now, part 2 of this, if you like, if you dare, we'll walk the toes just 1 or 2 inches forward. Forward meaning toward the elbows. Now press with those forearms. Keep lifting through and off those shoulder joints. Connect to breath. Using those warmed up hip flexors to help draw the sit bones back. Gently set the knees down. Slide the hands under the shoulders. Open up the hands very fully. Full contact. And right from hands and knees, straighten the elbows, hug with the forearms, hug with the thumb tips, all the space between your arms. You feel that inner arm line coming alive. This is a heart line, right? On exhale, so take your time, you go at your pace, press the knees off the ground, downward dog. Now, can you maintain that connection to your inner arms? Sometimes we have to do very specific things to feel. Inhale, step the right foot forward, warrior two. Reaching those arms out to the side. Now legs, sometimes we do to feel. And this is a case. So I'm just showing with my hands the direction, external rotation. So with each of my thigh bones, this is my right thigh bone. If I had a line drawn on the top of my leg, I'd be making that line turn a little bit to the wall behind me. If I had a stripe on my thigh, I'd be turning this thigh bone as if that stripe were facing the wall behind me. So in tone, it's kind of, if I look to the right, it's clockwise. If I look to the left, it's counterclockwise. Intone that direction and just find out if that helps you feel your groin and the base of your pelvis. Once we have that sense, that feeling sense of, whoa, there's my legs and my groin, connect to breath. Without moving the arms, without moving them backward, intone them moving backward. Like strongly suggest you're moving the pinkies back without moving the arms. So the arms get stronger. Now, without moving the arms forward, squeeze the thumb tips forward. Without moving the arms, squeeze the arms forward. Pull the pinkies back without moving the arms. Squeeze the thumb tips forward without moving the arms. So that's how you can turn on those arm lines. Good. Good. Inhale, bring the hands beside your right foot. Set the left knee down. Pigeon, walk the right foot to the left side of the mat. Flex the foot, lie the shin down. Please know that with pigeon, this bend of knee can be 90 degrees or it can be less than 90 degrees. Now, connecting to breath, we keep returning to sensing. Maybe it's a pull, a stretch, a burn, a sweetness. And sometimes in order to be willing to feel and sense our bodies, we have to kind of adjust the pose so that there's an approachable sweetness. So you can just get some practice feeling just the sweetness of the body. And then we can always adjust from there and challenge ourselves. And when I'm sensing the body, there's actually very little words or verbiage. There's not a lot, there's not narration, there's not description. I'm not explaining or describing or detailing anything in my mind's voice. It really is just sensation. Inhale, walk the hands under the shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. Now, contract, or rather engage those inner arms. So I'm firmly tweezing thumb tip toward thumb tip, forearm toward forearm, upper arm toward upper arm. There's a little motion in my arm bones. They start to turn. Now press the ground, lifting the sit bones away from the ribs. Connect to breath. So in these momentary kind of states of having some area of your body discovered, it's highly sensory, it's rich with sensation, it's strong and really turned on. In these moments, these little snapshot moments of engagement and enlivenment, connect to breath. It's how our nervous system learns to be with this enriched sensory experience. Right? I'm sure like many of us, when HD and 4K came along, it takes a while to really adjust the eye to seeing so much clarity and so much detail. Inhale, step the left foot forward. I still don't like 4K. Reach the arms out to the side. Warrior two. So the legs, we're doing really simple stuff today, and it just nice refresh. External rotate. So if I'm looking at my left leg, my thigh bone is turning counterclockwise. If I'm looking at my right thigh bone, I'm intoning it moving clockwise. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Draw the arms out. No pain in the knee, deep in the stance. Would it be all right to entertain a little more sensory information from the groin? Okay. Femoral artery here. Deep beds of lymph nodes. So from the point of view of fuel and cleaning byproducts out, we really need to entertain accessing all of the layers of this inner leg and groin. So important. Our femoral artery, huge artery. You gotta take the load off that beautiful fuel line. Inhaling, pull the pinkies apart without moving the arms. So you feel the tricep engage. You feel those back muscles turning on. Hug the thumbs together. Strong bear hug without moving the arms. To the front arm lines. And if this feels like a lot of strong turning on, the legs working, the arms working, connect to breath. So our nervous system starts to get adjusted. Oh, this highly enriched sensory experience, this is soon to be normal. As we breathe, we can normalize this enriched, highly sensory experience. Inhale, place the hands down on the ground beside your left foot, pigeon. Place the right knee down and then walk the left leg down. And so here's a little extra piece. So let's say I'm committed to this process of helping my body acclimate, helping my nervous system, my body, mind acclimate to this more awakened state, this more and more enriched, like detailed, enriched sensory experiences. So I'm really committed to this process. Interiorly, as I soften, information flows. Information. The backlog, the piled up inbox, the sensory experiences I haven't really gotten the message from yet. As I soften internally, information starts to flow. Soften through the back of the neck and stay with the sensory. It's usually right about here. If we have an inner chit-chat going, we'll start to get a little jumble of words. Just come back to the breath and the sensory. Okay, inhaling. Let's bring that left heel underneath our torso, hands to ground. Exhale, downward dog. Engage those inner arm lines. So I'm kind of pulling with my thumb tips the mat. It's like I'm compressing the mat between my thumb tips. And I'm using my whole entire arm. I'm compressing the air between my wrists, the air between my forearms, my upper arms. Inhale, step both feet forward. Arrive at standing. If you need balance or wall support at any time, just grab it. Pick up your right foot with both hands. There's two poses here, starting with standing splits. So remember how we started? We started just by getting some great hip flexion, meaning thigh very close to chest. And with that thigh, I grow taller. So that's our step one again, just like in the very beginning. And it may help some of you to feel rather, your pelvis teacup up. Like you may actually get a different quality of balance by just working with your teacup, your pelvis. Okay. Now, left hand, grab the outer edge of your right foot. If your leg is bent, you just grab the thigh. But left hand, grab the right leg or foot. Right hand reaches back away from, the left hand. Teacup up. And bend that right knee, set that right foot down. Do those two others on the other side, starting with the standing splits. So one, I can grab my left thigh, and if I'm a little kind of rounded or hanging forward, my teacup is spilling my tea forward, then I use my leg to kind of keep my teacup up. And then gradually we can straighten that left leg. Connect to breath. It's just the simple sensation, raw data. It might be a little quiver in the back of the leg. It might be a little perspiration starting to form. Might be a little click and clack of the joints. Right hand, grab the outer edge of the left foot. Left hand reaches out. If your balance is pretty steady, start to engage those arms strongly. Press through those leg muscles. There's a lot of metabolic effect, a lot of great metabolic effect by engaging the legs strongly. It'll help you get warm as the temperature's dropping for us in the Midwest here. All right, release. So last little bit before we rest, I'm going to show you pin feather, which is, if you're familiar with other forms of yoga, Navasana, boat pose, it's a variant on that. Let me just remind you, Navasana, which we almost never do, a little bit of a reason there. Remember, is this, you've probably been in an Ashtanga and had some kind of boat pose that looks like a V. Well, we're going to adjust that. Let me show you two ways that you can work with your Navasana or your pin feather. So I'll show you a wall way, and then I'll show you pin feather. If I have a strap and a wall, I'm in business. I start maybe 3 feet from the wall, and I get my feet somewhere on the wall. I don't know where. Might be a couple of feet up on the wall, might be more. I hope you can see this. I've looped my strap around my feet, and with it, I pull. And I'm pulling my teacup. So instead of spilling my tea out my backside, I'm holding my teacup. Now let me show you profile on this other wall, because it's a little more illustrative here. So here's my strap, here's my feet. Instead of rolling, buckling back, we'll get into focus here soon. We're out of focus. I pull the strap and lift the chest. I know I'm blurry, so I'll try to exaggerate it. Instead of bubbling back, I've got my feet on my wall, I pull the strap, I lift the chest. Let me come into focus. There we go. Stay in focus. One more time. I'll pull the strap, my chest lifts. So that option is really nice. Pin feather is I grab one of my feet and I pull it really close to me. If I'm just beginning my balance journey, I'll keep the strap, I'll keep pulling my chest up as I pull my one foot closer to my chest. Let me show you the other way. There. Okay. So I'm pulling my chest up as I pull my one instep toward my sternum. Okay. So walls are really great for just getting into that, feeling how the pelvis can rock back and forth. And when it rocks just right, when it's positioned just right, my spine can go really lengthy. So I'll give you a chance, and I'll just talk through both of them in case you need to see anything again. But it looks like you're all into a pose. Good. There you go. Yeah, Marissa, that's it. Cool. So we can start with both feet on the wall, loop around the feet, and I pull. The pulling is intended to be a helpful way of feeling the chest lift up, the teacup, the pelvis hold the tea. Pin feather, it's finger joint, okay, is grabbing one of those feet and pulling it close like pigeon. Yeah, that's it, David, that's it. Yeah, use that inner right leg. All your inner leg parts really help here. That's it, Marissa, that's it. It's really cool. You can see when the things spark on, like it's really fun. Make sure we do both sides. That rocking of the pelvis, that pelvic position really becomes a different creature when we start to bend that one leg, pulling that one foot in. All right, if you've played around with both sides, we should have a pause right about now. So, if you're ready to rest, or if you want to just sit in a vertical meditative position, let's start to bring our practice to a close. So even just as a signal to our body that this highly enriched sensory experience is now coming to a close. So you can do this in Shavasana, you could do this in a seated position. You might try on the phrasing or the inner feeling of thank you. And this would be to your body and its perpetual offering of messages, communications for your well-being. If you're ready, bend knees, turn to a side, and press up. Namaste.